All right. Everybody getting enough sun? Getting enough water? Enjoying the event? Don't all raise your hands at once. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. I think that this is definitely one of the more important topics that we need to be thinking about in this wave in crypto. One of the things that I think Helium really has prided itself on as a North Star for many years is how do you really simplify the experience? How do you make it comprehensible and approachable to the masses to get that benefit of crypto-powered networks? So we've got a great conversation. So why don't we kick off with some intros? Philip, you want to start a little bit about yourself and Solflare?
Yeah, sure. Filip, I'm the co-CEO of Solflare. We want to be the gateway to the next era of finance. So basically, you should be able to invest, earn, trades, spend everything, all things money through crypto. And Solflare is one of the OG wallets on Solana. So we launched back in 2020 when Solana was 60 cents. We've seen it all, I would say. At the moment, Solflare has around more than 4 million active users who holds approximately close to 20% of all circulating Sol in Solflare. So yeah, users all around the world, and we're happy to be here.
Nice. I think one of the things we were talking about beforehand is there is this like value in durability in this industry, that the longer you are here, you are building trust, you're building that credibility, you're validating your model, and been a Solflare user myself for many years. So if you're not using it, you should be checking out Solflare. Over to you, Emily, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your role within Helium.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a Director of Marketing for Helium and Helium Mobile. Been with Helium since the early IoT days, for those of you who are part of the community. And for this panel in particular, I'm going to talk about Helium Mobile. For those who don't know, Helium Mobile is a phone carrier that has super affordable phone plans that run on the Helium network, as well as T-Mobile's 5G network. And it's based in the US, so if you're from the US, you can sign up for it. And we have a free phone plan, which is the first free phone plan ever offered, and it's all because of crypto.
And just quick, since I did not introduce myself, I'm Scott Sigel. I run the foundation side for Helium. So let's talk a little bit about how we're growing the pie. Because again, if we're thinking about one of the themes of this topic of how we get to Main Street, so how do we make sure we are thinking about building products that are usable, comprehensible, bringing in the next wave of users. So Philip, as you are thinking about, or kind of looking back at Solflare, where you've been, where you are, where you're going, how have you thought about that kind of top of funnel activity in terms of educating people, bringing in new users? How do you develop that awareness around Solflare, kind of beyond those like core Solana native users?
Yeah, so I think that crypto in general has two big problems still when it comes to awareness. One is the on-ramping and off-ramping, so getting in and getting out. Like just for example, like an insane stat is that the current on-ramp providers have a success rate of 25-26%. So 1 in 4 people who actually want to on-ramp get a successful on-ramp into crypto, which is absolutely horrendous at the moment. So this is one of the things that we need to solve. The second thing that we need to solve is we're still a little bit in our crypto bro lingo. So it's maybe a little bit daunting for someone who just comes in to sign a transaction, even if it's just signing a message. So you're basically just confirming something. You're not transacting anything at that point. But it's some of the things that we still need to fix. When it comes to general awareness, I think that comes from the value proposition that crypto brings to the table. At the moment, I would still say this is the last of our speculative years, and that we're going into our utility years. So from next year onwards, we're definitely going to see huge advancements in stable coins, in DeFi, prediction markets, like again, a little bit speculative, but speculative to a more broader market. And when that comes in, then it's going to be much easier to market to all of those people. Because as of right now, like the last year was, hey, you need to buy X token and hope it will go up. Next year, you can actually tell them, hey, you can send money from one part of the world to the other part of the world for sub-seconds, for sub-cents, and that's a huge differentiator in terms of market size and target audience.
Yeah, I want to come back to that kind of onboarding and user experience in a second, but Emily, over to you. You know, as we kind of look at Helium, so separate from the network, but Helium Mobile, the carrier specifically, you know, if you can talk to the audience a little bit about how have we thought about building awareness, how have we thought about getting the brand and the name out there, kind of thinking about like where we've had that constraint around crypto and how we simplify and make it more comprehensible to the masses.
Yeah. So Helium Mobile started with our core community and actually a very crypto-based audience. Helium Mobile had a rewards program where you were actually earning HNT, the token. And we grew a great community through that, but we knew we needed to take it a step further and onboard the masses and consumers. So we actually changed the product quite a lot and simplified the entire flow, the rewards that people are getting, and made it much more consumer friendly. And our core audience that we're targeting are people who are looking for affordable phone plans, budget conscious, budget savvy people, and we've been going after that market for the past year now and have seen some of our highest growth since. So by making it a lot easier for people to download the product, onboard new consumers, we've actually seen more growth than in our early days when it was more crypto focused.
But that's actually like a great point in terms of the pull between friction and incentives, or the value that has to be there. So the more friction we have, the more value we have to have on the other side to make it worth it to go through that friction. So I think that we all need to remove friction. And then the value proposition will be so big and so actually rewarding that more and more people will get in.
Yeah, I think that's a real, I mean, again, super important point of, you know, for those of us who've been in the industry for a long time, we think about the different points of friction of getting a wallet set up, thinking about seed phrase storage. I mean, all of these things that I think we take for granted how we've gotten comfortable with some of those cumbersome activities. Emily, I mean, in terms of the fact of, you know, crypto and even like mapping the network was initially a core piece and a real kind of novel aspect to Helium Mobile as a subscriber. Can you talk through like what went into the decision of pulling away from more of the crypto native aspects? And even though that might have been one of the more novel things, why removing that, not even just abstracting it away, but actually removing it from the user experience has helped with growth on the subscriber side, and like what led to that kind of outcome?
Yeah. Helium Mobile is competing with other types of carriers, whether that's the big kind of 3 telcos in the US or smaller ones like a Boost Mobile, for example. And we really had to think hard about how we were going to reach those types of audience and be competitive. So when we first launched, you know, we had a really solid Helium community and audience that was eager to be on this mission and journey with us. And HNT was very much part of that. People would take their phones, go mapping around their cities, their communities, and they would earn HNT. And the reason that we did that is so that we were getting knowledge about the Helium network, where coverage needed to be set up by the community. After we got a lot of that data from our initial community, we decided to shift things. And this is when we were going through a shift in the audience we were trying to target as well. And that audience, we were going to very consumer-friendly events. We were going to football games, for example. We were going to pop-up events in New York that I'll talk about later. And you know, people just did not understand crypto, or they were too scared to give it a try. And so we realized we had to meet them where they were at. And so we removed the mapping feature and the HNT, and now it's very simple. You just have to use a little bit of data on your phone every month, and you're connecting to Helium hotspots or T-Mobile's towers when you're doing that. And in return, you're earning something called cloud points. And this is kind of like a loyalty rewards credit card points, you can think of it. So it's something that people are very familiar with already, and you can use that for gift cards and other things, but they don't need to know anything about crypto to get started. But the whole thing is still powered by crypto, because the reason our plans are so affordable is that we are using the Helium network in order to make a free phone plan, and we have a $15 plan that has 10 gigabytes of data and an unlimited plan for $30, which is extremely competitive in the market in the US.
Yeah, so I think we'll come back a little bit to kind of where the network adds a lot of, where it brings down costs, not just for Helium Mobile, but for other carriers. But shifting back over to you, Philip, you're running a wallet, like that crypto part is front and center. You don't want to abstract that away. That's kind of a key value. So, excuse me. So as we're thinking about, again, like that onboarding, the education side, because crypto is so crucial to the value that you're bringing to your customers, how do you think about that simplification? How do you think about this next wave of new people who are coming into different crypto ecosystems? What you guys are doing to simplify that experience and make it more, more comprehensible and simpler, and again, reducing that friction. What you guys have done.
Yeah, I would love to abstract everything away, but it's not possible because it is the product. So that's unfortunately impossible. But what we can do is actually simplify everything else. And I can come back to the point that I've made about basically the copy, the lingo. So it doesn't need to be like sign a transaction, it can be like confirm this action. And that's already more simpler for the average user. The second thing is, I think that we can do a lot when it comes to educating the user, but in a very engaging and fun way. So nobody does this at the moment. I don't know why we're going to start doing that, but it's a part of, okay, if this is a new world and if this functions in another way than something else, then I have to learn this, but I have to learn this in a fun way. So it should be gamified, it should be engaging, it should be interactive, and then it actually makes fun to actually learn that stuff. And it doesn't even have to be incentivized. So we've seen these programs that have been incentivized by both, but Coinbase and others use other projects tokens to do that, of course. But if it brings value and if it's done in a very engaging and interactive way, then we don't even need incentives. So that's the part of it.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this before of like one of the unfortunate realities that anybody in this space is confronting is this inverse relationship between the convenience and a lack of friction with security. So, think about anybody who is a purist in the room, anybody who's been in the industry for a while. If we're talking about Main Street users are not thinking about sharded keys. They're not thinking about a seed phrase where they've got, one bit of it that's sitting in a vault somewhere, another bit of it that's sitting elsewhere. Like, it's just so much security overhead to manage these things. How have you guys confronted that around that you want to make sure people are confident in the security model, but it's still usable? It is still easy to understand, and how you're able to onboard, again, like this next wave of users?
I can tell you, we are in crypto. We started in crypto back in 2015, 2016. So we were purists at heart. So especially in the first beginning of Solflare, in the first year, we have done everything by the purists book. And we've seen that convenience trumps this out. So our focus on a scale from security and convenience is constantly shifting a little bit to the convenience part. It also boils down to how much people actually trust a certain product. So the longer you're here and the longer you have no security incidents, the longer people know, okay, this works and I'm not going to lose my money here, the more you can actually move to the other side. So for us, for example, seed phrases, it would be a non-discussion a year ago to, have social logins. But right now, we are in the process of, I can't say integrating it, building it, but I can say that we're exploring it, just because it's so much easier. So just imagine, you're a new user, it's a completely different concept, so it's not a password, it's a seed phrase. It has 12 words. Even if it's the same concept, it looks different, it's something that puts you off. And then the first thing you see as a crypto user is, if you don't write this down, you're going to lose all of your money. we don't even get to the
Let's terrify people into making sure they do the
Yes.
thing right away.
Let's not even see them. Let's not even give them the opportunity to see the value of what it can bring them, but let's scare them away in the beginning, just to basically make them aware that seed phrases are important. So I think that we have to make a shift there. It has to become more convenient, but again, then we need to be able to explain the benefits of those seed phrases, which are the self-custody aspect of it and the security aspect of it, which are huge, in a more engaging and interactive way. So let them use the wallet, but then tell them a week later, hey, this is a seed phrase, and this protects everything that you've made in the last 7 days.
Yeah, I think that it just continues to be something that anybody who is building consumer-facing products like has to continue to confront. How do we keep this simple? Again, how do you balance that trade-off of security and convenience? I mean, Emily, one of the things on Helium Mobile, obviously, where the Helium Mobile product, removing some of the crypto, you lost some of the, in a good way, like the seed phrase issues has gone away, but we still continue to think about security very practically. Like, so one, kind of one risk vector on mobile phones in general is this idea of SIM swapping. How do you make sure that you can't be social engineered? How do you make sure that you're actually going to be able to have, your SIM card swapped? And that's something that, we've kind of confronted that and how we can add layers of security that are almost more of a telco problem than a crypto problem. But maybe that's something that we can talk about a little bit of like how we're thinking about like kind of solving for telco security and kind of protecting users through Helium Mobile with some of the security products on SIM swapping a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't really have retail. There's no retail locations, so you can't go in
we
the same
have,
way.
like SIM swapping protection with Helium Mobile. That's something that the team was very interested in making sure was critical to the app. It's something that is social engineered a lot of the time. So, it's something that our team is very focused on, and we have features within the app that do protect against this.
Yeah, I think the other thing that, when this is maybe more of a network side, is typically if you're trying to access Wi-Fi access points, you go, what's the ID, what's the password? There's a little bit more room for vulnerability. The fact that Helium is leveraging Passpoint, which is more of a Wi-Fi standard than a crypto standard, but again, you're getting these additional layers of security, additional layers of protection. And again, when we think about that access to Main Street, how do you simplify that experience? How do you reduce friction in the process? And generally, think about that balance of convenience with security. I think it's one of the things that we're doing very well on the network side is how do you just naturally get access to the benefits of Helium without having to know it exists and having to go through some of the crypto hurdles that you traditionally have to think about. Let's talk a little bit about kind of more that kind of consumer activation, how you're kind of thinking about the education and the onboarding. So maybe Emily, if you want to talk a little bit about New York City, what do you feel like has worked in some of these like new ways of introducing Helium Mobile and activating those new subscribers?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, it was during Accelerate conference, we kicked off a massive takeover in New York City for Helium Mobile. This was really one of the biggest brand initiatives Helium Mobile had done. We had subway ads, we had ads on Link NYC kiosks, which are these Wi-Fi kiosks that is actually Helium powered now, city bike ads. We were pretty much everywhere, and actually the subway ads are still up, which is amazing. They've stayed up since then as added value. They just have not taken them down, so that's been awesome. But yeah, we did a lot of events too. We were really trying to reach a broader audience and go beyond just kind of the crypto community that we had already developed. And so it's a very interesting learning experience going to a big city like New York and trying to reach new people. I think the benefits of doing that is we captured quite a large audience and saw signups start to actually take off from there, as well as just brand awareness. A lot of these things might be more traditional in terms of marketing and advertising, but we knew that to get our brand name out there is something we had to test and try out. And it was also important that we did it in a specific city and a key market. You can think of Helium is kind of like an Airbnb or Uber for telco, where you have to match the subscribers with the Helium coverage. So we really needed to make sure that we were growing in a particular location, both of our subscribers and the network coverage. So we learned a lot by launching in New York. I think one of the biggest kind of takeaways is being there in person with people, watching them go through the onboarding flow. Switching phone plans is very scary for most people, and you really have to walk them through and hold their hand as they go through it. And we learned a lot about the product as well, and like where we needed to make improvements so that people felt comfortable trusting us as a new brand. So that was amazing to see and just be with the community in person. I think the challenge was, making sure that the network coverage and the subscribers really were growing simultaneously. But yeah, since then, we've had a ton of more brand awareness on the consumer side from Helium Mobile. We've partnered with kind of influencers. We did digital advertising, things that you kind of see in traditional marketing. But we're currently signing up 2,000 people a day, which is pretty great in the U.S. So we're continuing to see growth since then, and it's been awesome.
I have a follow-up question here. Are you happy with those results?
Yeah, I mean, going from a small carrier to reaching 2,000 signups a day is a pretty big feat for the team, and we're continuing to see more signups. So
I would definitely love to talk more about this, maybe later on, because we also think that those brand marketing plays are extremely important when it comes to a product that you have to trust. So unless you've seen it like 7-8 times before you actually want to engage with it, the conversion is not going to happen. So for example, in our case, what we figured out is there's two big aha moments or magical moments when it comes to crypto and to wallets. The first one is whenever I tell someone, download the app, they download the app, and then I scan their address, and then I say, look, I swipe to the right, I sign the transaction, and funds arrive on their phone. This is when they go, oh, wow, what is this? So I've never experienced something like this. And the second aha moment is, the second magical moment is when they use those funds to actually buy something real. So, I mean, crypto is also real, but for them, it's internet magic money that all of a sudden, I don't know, became a cocktail. And for them, that's also like, wow. So we've seen, okay, these two core experiences, how can we get our users in front of that? So we also want to, starting next year, we're going to do a lot of pop-up shops. Especially in Europe. We're going to try it out in Europe because we're from Europe. So pop-up stores, London, for example, and I just see people coming in. We send them a little bit of something. They get this first aha moment, and then we tell them, hey, create the card and buy coffee down the street and tell us how it went. So I'm sure that you also have those aha moments, and that's why you have done the New York activation. But very interesting to hear basically how did it work.
Yeah, we should talk, because we did a lot of pop-ups in New York, and we continue to do them. And what we did in New York is we actually partnered with a lot of local businesses. So these businesses not only were helping us throw a really interesting pop-up and reach their audiences, but also they were setting up Helium coverage. So they were putting up a hotspot, deploying coverage, and we could actually show people in person, your phone is connecting to the Helium network, and this is how it works, and this is why we're able to offer a free phone plan. I think when people hear free phone plan, they think scam.
Yes.
Crypto is also a hard sell with consumers. So having those pop-ups and actually getting to interact with the community was really important.
And for them, it's also super important to see there's actual nice people behind those products. So we're not scammers. We're not doing anything. We just want to give them a superior experience. And of course, it's a little bit distrusting at first when they hear, for example, a free plan. Why are you giving me a free plan? I don't get that anywhere else. But as soon as they experience it, firsthand, I think a lot of that shifts and they become brand ambassadors of sorts. So
yeah, and you jumped right ahead on my next question in terms of, obviously we on the Helium side, how we're thinking about engaging directly those in-person events. I mean, you think about how do you build trust in this industry? It is, time is one function, which I think you guys certainly have on yours. Actually, I think both sides of us, like, we've been around for a long time. There is awareness, I think, in kind of those core early adopter circles. And again, we talk about how do we expand the pie. So for those who are not part of that like long history with either Solflare or Helium, that direct engagement, the relationship building that like is not necessarily always scalable, but how do you develop that word of mouth? It's you're creating those evangelists from those direct connections. So it's great to hear you guys are kind of going to be testing out some of the in-person stuff. What else has kind of worked for you guys as far as, again, like introducing new people? I mean, word of mouth obviously has been very, very big for you guys, being a big player in the Solana ecosystem. But anything as far as you're increasing that participation and growing your own pie, what else has kind of been successful for you guys that you're kind of replicating over and over?
So for us, a couple of things I would say. So word of mouth, as you said, is super important. For us, being a Solana wallet, a Solana exclusive wallet, brings a lot of perks, I would say. For example, if you right now open your app store and you search for Solana, Solflare is going to be first because we're a Solana wallet, we're not a crypto wallet. That brings a lot of new users in. We are also have, I would say, 3 parts of our marketing team. So one is performance marketing. So we're just trying out all different channels, all different creatives, everything that's might or might not work. Because at one point in time, when we fix all of the product stuff that we have to fix, like the on-ramping experience and the language and everything else, then we can go really hard with paid ads. The second part is, I would say, growth. So we have a Telegram mini app because crypto users are on Telegram. And in the Telegram mini app, we're actually trying to figure out how gamification systems work, that we can actually bring them into the main product. For example, right now, Helium is one of the biggest sponsors of our closing party giveaway that is going to happen on Saturday. So if you have the Solflare Telegram mini app and you do a couple of quests, there's a 200K reward pool that will be given away to all closing party participants. For example, we launched a Telegram mini app 10 days ago. It has 450,000 users. That's insane. And that's not an isolated case with Telegram mini apps. It's just because users are already there, and it's just like one more click for them to actually access it and to try to stuff out. That's the second part, and the third part is community. We're very big on community. Because all of the things that we just mentioned before, but crypto is a trust thing. And if you have people actually advocating for you, or telling you, hey, this can't be trusted, then the likelihood of them making the first step is far bigger than just seeing something somewhere.
Great. Now, I think just to, closing it out, I know we're just about at time. Again, thinking about this overall theme, how do we bring this more to the masses? For those who are touring around, you've seen some of the TO placards. We talk about connectivity rebuild. I think one of the big things that we talk about in Helium a lot is the why. Why does it matter? Why does this need to exist? Why aren't the existing telecoms good enough as it is? Emily, really quickly, you talk about what worked in New York and how we're looking ahead to 2026 to continue to grow and to continue to scale on the subscriber side. If you want to just quickly speak to that so we can wrap up.
Yeah, I think the brand awareness was key, and it opened a lot of doors for Helium Mobile to do even more. A lot of partnerships and people coming to Helium Mobile came out of that. But I think what's really interesting is that New York is now kind of a prime example of how we were able to flip the telco kind of economic model. And what I mean by that is the more people that are connecting to the Helium network in New York, the lower we can make the phone plans. So our plans are affordable because of the Helium network. And we saw in New York, because of a number of community members who deployed the network and also partnerships that we had with the Wi-Fi kiosks I mentioned earlier, that we were seeing subscribers start connect to the Helium hotspots even more than T-Mobile's network. And so to see the connection between those two things working together, like I mentioned, it was a challenge, but New York is a really great example of a city where it's been working well, and we want to continue that in other cities, soon to be shared. And yeah, we hope to bring the brand awareness to those cities too once we expand.
Increased bandwidth, lower bills.
Yes.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We'll get another great one coming up, so stick around.